Hello students, in today's lecture session we will discuss the communication process, which is very important for everyone irrespective of their field or any kind of branch they are studying. So in this video we will discuss the importance of communication skills, the communication process, then various types of communications, and finally I will discuss the barriers that result in the hampering of a proper communication process. So let's first begin with the definition of the term communication. So communication is simply the act of transferring information from one place or one person or from one group to another. And the communication is a two-way process in which the message in the form of ideas, thoughts, our feelings, opinions is transmitted between two or more persons with the intent of creating a better understanding. So every communication involves at least one sender, a message, and a receiver. So this we can say this maybe sounds simple, but communication is actually a very complex process. So the fundamental of communication is basically the existence and survival of humans within the organization. So it is the process of we can say creating and sharing ideas within the group of people. And effective communication involves exchange of ideas, our thoughts, knowledge, and information, such that the basic aim of that communication is fulfilled in a proper manner. So we can say that effective communication leads to better understanding between the people, or between the we can say the organization employees, or between the family members. So these are the basic elements. These are sender, message, medium, that is the through which the message is conveyed, and the receiver. So we will discuss these basic elements in the process part. Next comes the importance of effective communication skills. So as we have discussed in the definition part, that communication basically involves the sharing of or the transfer of information between the people or the group of people. But in order to make that communication more effective, certain kind of communication skills are required, and these communication skills helps in the organization or the business organization or people to generate awareness. Awareness means if we want to convey something to the people, for example within a family you want to convey some good habits to your children, then effective communication skills are must, so that children are able to capture those good habits which the parents want to convey. Next, it is a basic. It is a we can say a coordination. Coordination means any kind of cooperation or a link can be established if the communication is effective one. Then it assists in smooth working of an organization. So every business organization requires a smooth, or we can say a good communication channel if the organization wants to grow in a proper working environment. So any kind of informations from the lower level to higher level, or the higher level to lower level, can be conveyed in a proper manner if the communication channel or the communication process is in a proper manner. Then it helps in decision making. So if the organization or the business organization we can say can get proper feedback or new ideas from its employees, its customers, then it can help the business or the organization to make effective decisions. Their decision making can improve if the communication process or the communication between the employees or between the suppliers or between the customers is proper. So we can say that with the proper feedback, the decision making also improves. Then is boost employee morale. So this is the it is one of the important part of effective communication. So any kind of policies or any kind of information that is to be conveyed from the top management to the employees regarding their transfers, regarding their promotions, regarding their increase in salary, can be done in a proper manner if the communication channel is proper. Then last and the most important one is it improves the overall working of the organization. So if the communication is proper, all the problems are conveyed from lower level to the top management, and all the new decisions are conveyed properly from the top management to the lower management, the overall working of the organization improve. The proper communication channel helps it also helps the organization and the employees to maintain better industrial relations. So there will be no strikes, there will be no misunderstandings within the employees if the communication skills or the communication channel is proper without any kind of barriers and shortcomings. So these are the importance of effective communication skills, or we can say these are the objectives of effective communication. So as we have already discussed in the definition part, that communication is a process which mainly involves three basic elements or three basic components, and that is a sender, the person who sends a message, then is a message, any kind of information that the person want to convey, and the third one is the receiver, the person who receives the message from the sender. So in this diagram, the communication process is shown. So let's discuss one by one. The first part is the sender. So sender, or a person who wants, sender is a person who wants to start a communication, who wants to send a message. So sender generates the message and conveys it to the specified receiver. Then second component is the message. So message, as I have already told you, that it is a kind of information or a kind of feeling you want to convey, or an idea that is conveyed by the sender to the receiver. Then the third part of this process comes the encoding. So the message generated by the sender is encoded symbolically in the form of symbols, we can say, such as words, pictures, or any non-verbal or verbal gestures before it is being conveyed to the receiver. Then comes the media, which is the most important part. So it is the medium through which the message is transmitted from a sender to a receiver. So the message may be transmitted orally or in the form of writing or any other medium. And the medium of or the media of communication includes telephone, internet, or post, fax, email. And the choice of this transmission medium or communication medium depends upon the sender or the receiver, or the both. We can say that selection of media is the selection of media is done by the sender and the receiver. Then comes the decoding. So it is the process of converting the symbols encoded by the sender. So after the decoding, the message is received by the receiver. And the last and the important link is the receiver, which is the person who is the last in the chain for this whole process, whom the message was sent by the sender. And once the receiver receives the message and understand it, so it is very important for a receiver to provide a feedback regarding that message, whether the receiver has received that message in a proper manner or not. So we can say that the receiver confirms to the sender that he has received the message and understood it, and the process of communication is complete with the feedback. We can also say that feedback is an important step in the completion of communication process. Then there is certain time kind of disturbances, or we call it noise. So it refers to the obstructions that are caused in the communication channel. It can be through the outside noise, for example, a bad connection facility. Then there can be issues in coding and decoding the message. Then if you are sending a written message, it might be the poor quality of printout. So these are the disturbances or the noises which hamper the communication process. So we can say that noise level or the disturbance level should be at minimum level for the proper passage of communication message. So based on the type of communication or type of message to be conveyed, and communication process or the communication can be distinguished into these different types. So let's discuss one by one. The first one is oral, written, or non-verbal communication. So oral communication, so it is the face-to-face communication between the people or the individual. It may be in the form of direct talk when a person are physically present at one place. So it includes the group discussions, the meetings, the telephone calls, or the formal speeches. So it is the most effective and most frequently used communication tool. So it provides the opportunity for the exchange of information, points of view, and instructions between the staff or the employees. For example, when we normally interact in a family, it is a oral communication. Then is the written communication. So it is a communication through the written words. It's generally in the form of letters, any articles, formal reports, policies, information bulletins, or other official documents. So it is more orderly, and it's a binding on the subordinates. By the written communication, it is possible to communicate with several persons at a single time. So we can say that written communication is also documented proof of any kind of information or communication that is to be conveyed. Then is non-verbal communication. So non-verbal communication is not expressed orally or in the form of writing. So it is conveyed through human or environmental elements. Non-verbal expressions we can say include like the facial expressions, the posture, the tone of your voice. If you are angry, it conveys that kind of message. Then your body movements. And our non-verbal messages can be in the form of anger, frustration, shyness, fear, and which are mostly used and the mostly used non-verbal communication or communication channels include the body language, we can say. Then at offices, also the manager should give due importance to these kind of non-verbal communications, as the behavior of the employees can be easily judged by keeping a watch on non-verbal communications. Next comes the formal and the informal communication. So as the name itself suggests, formal communication refers to the flow of information through the formally established channels or chain of command. So formal channels of communication are planned and established by a business organization, and the formal lines of communication most often follow the reporting to the certain kind of authority or the organization. Next is the informal communication. So informal communication refers to the communication among the people through informal contracts. Means they are not bound by any kind of formal authority. So it is also sometimes referred to as the grapevine. So it takes place without any kind of structure. So it is related to we can say that informal communication is related to personal rather than positional matters. So it does not follow any formal channels as in the case of formal communication. Then is the downward and upward communication. So downward communication flows from individuals at higher levels of the hierarchy to the lower levels of the lower level employees in the organization. So it is a form of we can say superior to subordinate communication. So from top management, it filters down to the workers through various levels, various informations in the form of information related to policies, rules, procedures, then work assignments, feedback about performance, and then general information about the organization such as growth, the organization progress. All these kind of information or communication is covered under downward communication. Then is the upward communication. So it is the subordinate initiated communication. It means that it flows from lower level to the top level of the organization. So various kind of communication or information like problems and issues faced by employees, the level of performance and achievement of various employees, request for any kind of help or training needs, these all are covered in upward communication type. Next type of communication based on the business or the organization structure is the horizontal or the diagonal communication. So horizontal communication refers to the flow of communication among the staff or the peers in the same working group or between the same departments at the same organization level. Whereas diagonal communication can occur at different levels. It can be between the members of two different departments or the employees of two different levels of organization. The last type of communication is the internal or external communication. So internal communication is the communication that takes place within the organization, within with the different managers, within different departments, whereas the external communication means communication with the outsiders, which include your suppliers, your customers or other competitors, where you share information regarding your business or various products. So these are the basic types of communications based on the your conveying of message or based on your organization structure. So next comes the barriers to effective communication. The communication barriers may prevent the communication or we can say carry incorrect meaning, due to which the misunderstanding may be created between the receiver and the sender. So therefore it is very important for a manager to identify such kind of barriers and take appropriate measures to overcome these. The barriers to communication in organization are broadly divided into these types. So we will discuss these one by one. The first are the semantic barriers. So these are the barriers which are concerned with the problems or the obstructions in the process of encoding and decoding of a message from sender to the receiver into words or so normally such barriers result due to use of wrong words or faulty translations or different interpretations. For example, a person has to communicate with the workers who have no knowledge about English language, and on the other side he is not well prepared or he is not well he is not able to communicate well in any other language like Punjabi or Hindi. So here language is a barrier to communication, as the manager may not be able to communicate the message properly to the workers. Then the second comes the psychological barriers. So these are various mental or psychological issues that may be a barrier to the effective communication. So like some people have a stage fear, disorders or depression. All these kind of conditions are very difficult to manage and sometimes and will definitely result in the barrier, or we can say that it results in the lack of communication. So communication process suffers due to psychological barriers. Then the third are the personal barriers or the personal factors. So we can say the personal factors are basically of both the sender and the receiver, which may act as a barrier to effective communication. So it is the superior who thinks that a particular communication may adversely affect his or her authority. So he may suppress any information related to that. And also, if the superiors do not have confidence in the competency of their subordinates, so they may not ask for their advice. So the communication again suffers. Then there is also some personal issues, like some people have a problem to communicate with certain kind of gender, like males. Some males are not comfortable in communicating with the females, or the vice versa. So these all personal factors play a very important role in making a communication effective or ineffective. Next are the organizational barriers. So the factors related to the organization working structure, its and regulations, or the kind of authority that is prevailing within the organization may sometimes act as a barrier to effective communication. So in the organization with a highly centralized pattern, people may not be encouraged to have free communication. So the rules and regulations or the procedures should be made in a manner that each of the individual can express his or her views, making the communication process good and effective. Next comes the emotional barriers. So the emotional IQ of a person determines the ease and comfort with which they can communicate with each other. A person who is emotionally mature will be able to communicate more effectively, whereas on the other hand, the people who let their emotions take over will face certain kind of difficulties. And we can say that a perfect mixture of emotions and facts are necessary for effective communication process. Emotions like anger, frustration, humor can play a very important role in the effectiveness of any kind of communication. Next comes the physical barriers. So they are the most obvious barriers to effective communication. These include barriers like noise, the disturbances, the faulty equipment used for communications. Sometimes in large office, the physical separation between various employees combined with faulty equipments may result in severe barrier to effective communication. Next comes the cultural barriers. So during any kind of communication, some people are not able to communicate with the people who belong to different cultures or different race or different communities. So this also acts as a barrier to effective communication. And the last, the technical or technological barriers. So these barriers include the barriers which result due to the use of outdated technology. The technology is developing fast, and as a result it becomes very difficult to keep up with the newest developments, and most of the organizations prefer going with the outdated technology to communicate. So we can say hence sometimes the technical advancement may come as a barrier to the communication. In addition to this, the cost of technology is sometimes very high, and most of the organization will not be able to afford that kind of technology to improve the communication process. So we can conclude that if the organization or the business organization is able to overcome these barriers, then the communication can become more effective. So this was all for today's lecture session related to communication. So in this lecture session we discussed the importance of effective communication skills, then the communication process, then we discussed the various types of communication and the barriers which hamper the effective communication process to be carried out. So I think all the topics are very much clear to you. So these are some of the important questions related to your exams. Thank you.